Oops. I woke up just as the paper bag in my hand nearly fell. I was holding a familiar brand shopping bag. Inside a sunlit, comfortably swaying train, I realized I must have dozed off. And here I might be meeting President Thomas soon. I'm careless, I sighed. I'm Logan, a 26-year-old sales manager. One of my clients, President Thomas, was recently rushed to the hospital with acute appendicitis, but he's been safely discharged. I'm on my way to visit him right now. But President Thomas likes cookies. Who would have thought? I recalled reporting to my manager about President Thomas. Manager, President Thomas has been safely discharged today. I reported what I had just heard over the phone to my manager right away.
Oh, that's good to hear.
The manager looked visibly relieved. Yes, I was surprised by the sudden hospitalization, but I'm relieved he's been discharged safely.
So, have you scheduled a visit yet?
I just heard about it over the phone. And besides, our next scheduled visit was supposed to be the first Wednesday of next month, so these words seemed to set off my manager's anger.
What are you doing? When someone's discharged from the hospital, it's common courtesy to take them something to celebrate their recovery.
Yes, I apologize.
Hurry up and get over there. And remember, that CEO loves cookies, so it would be downright rude to show up empty-handed.
Cookies, you say? That's how the conversation went. When I heard cookies, only one shop came to mind. It's a bit of a drive, but it's an established cookie specialty shop, and the taste is top-notch. That's because it's my family's shop. You see, my family has been the proud owners of a well-known cookie store for generations. Neighbors and friends would always say,
"I'm so envious that you get to eat such delicious cookies."
but for me, it was never like that. I always preferred regular snacks, and I used to think sweets were for women. So I shrugged off my family's expectations and chose my current job. However, now I needed to give cookies as a gift, but it would take far too much time to go back home and then head to the client. Reluctantly, I obtained permission from my manager to head home on my day off and go directly from there to the client. That's why I'm on the train at this time of the day. I saw my dad and mom for the first time in a while, and they looked much older. It had been some time since I'd been home. Even though it's called an established shop, it's nothing grand. It's just a small cookie store run solely by my parents. My grandfather used to be there, but he passed away a few years ago. The store isn't as busy as it used to be, and I can't imagine it's making much profit anymore. I suddenly wondered if the shop would close after my father's time. I eventually got off the train and headed for the client's office. As the Target building came into view, my footsteps gradually became heavier. I always dread coming to this client. Today, I was hoping I wouldn't run into that guy. A former classmate of mine works here. He's an unpleasant fellow who has ridiculed my family store since we were kids. His name is Jack. He's the son of a local celebrity and thinks he's better than others. To make matters worse, my dad's shop is in an old building because of its long-standing reputation. That shop, he would make low-level jokes about it, like how it smelled musty, or that ghosts would appear there, or that it looked like it might collapse in a storm. It seems his level hasn't changed, as he mocks me every time he sees my face. As I headed to the reception desk, my bad luck seemed to run out, and an annoying voice came from behind.
"Oh, what do we have here? Logan, isn't it?"
It was Jack, of course. Hello.
"You still reek of that sickly sweet smell." "No, wait, is it the smell of butter today? Or are you here to sell cookies on the road? We're fine here, so why don't you take it somewhere else?" "Oh, that's not it. Has that old shop finally gone under? And you're here to peddle some new product again?"
I had run into the one person I didn't want to see right away. Feeling that it was foolish to respond to Jack's ever-mocking attitude, I decided to handle it calmly and professionally. "My name is Logan, a sales representative for XYZ Company. I always appreciate your business." Standing at the reception desk, I greeted him politely.
"Come on, Logan. We were classmates. You don't need to be so stiff with me."
Jack approached with a smirk. "Well, yes, but I'm working right now. I have to be formal here."
"It's fine. Just talk to me normally. So, what brings you here today?"
"I heard that your CEO has safely been discharged from the hospital, so I came to pay a visit."
"I see. That's thoughtful of you. Must be tough being a subcontractor. I feel for you. What's in that paper bag?
Yes, it's nothing much, but I brought it as a get well gift. I hope you'll accept it.
Oh, I recognize this. These are cookies from your family shop. Those cheap-looking cookies. You can't be serious. No way.
Jack yelled, his voice echoing across the floor. People around us were staring.
How can I possibly give these sweet cookies to our recovering CEO? This is practically garbage, don't you think?
Jack said, leaning into my face. That's not true. These are cookies made by my parents. It was frustrating, but he's an important client. I suppressed my voice and argued back.
What was that? I didn't hear you well. We have strict rules in this company. Hand that over. I'll toss it in the trash for you.
Jack snatched the bag from my hand and threw it into a trash can in the corner of the office.
Think a little more before you come next time. You'll need a more upscale gift, not some cheap cookies.
I understand. I'm sorry.
Glad you get it. It's embarrassing to see a classmate act so rudely. See you later.
Jack turned his back to me, waving his hand as he left. My body trembled with anger and frustration. I couldn't move from the spot until the excitement subsided. I returned to the office and reported to my manager. I'm back.
Welcome back. How was it? Was Mr. Thomas doing well?
The manager paused his work to ask me.
How did it go? Was Mr. Thomas well?
No, I couldn't see Mr. Thomas.
Oh, really? But you were able to give him the cookies, right?
No, I couldn't do that either.
What? Those cookies from that renowned shop, right? Did Mr. Thomas say he didn't want them?
Jack threw them away. He said there's no way I could hand over such cheap sweets.
Jack, you held up well. I'm sorry you had to go through that.
The manager said, keeping Jack's name to himself in front of everyone.
It's not a problem. According to that employee, I should have brought more luxurious sweets. So next time I'll do just that and visit again.
I said, managing to perk up and make a positive proposal.
Understood. Can you do that? I'm sorry to keep asking you to do this, but it's part of the business. They're an important client, so please take care of it.
Of course, I fully understand that. I said that, but the thought of seeing Jack again was somewhat depressing. A few days later, I visited President Thomas again. This time, as Jack had instructed, I prepared elegant sweets from a high-end shop. Fortunately, I didn't run into Jack. After checking in at the reception and getting the CEO's approval, I headed to the president's office. Excuse me, I'm Logan from XYZ Corporation.
Oh, Logan, come on in.
I opened the door and entered the president's office. Mr. Thomas looked more energetic than I had thought, which was reassuring. Mr. Thomas, it's been a while. I was worried when I heard about your hospitalization, but I'm glad you're safely discharged. Here's a small get well gift. Please accept it.
Oh, thank you, Logan. It was just appendicitis, so I'm a bit embarrassed to have it at this age.
Well, Mr. Thomas, you're a busy man. Maybe it was a well-timed rest.
That's true. It seems I've aged without realizing it now that my son has reached marriageable age. I need to take better care of myself.
Indeed. When I went back home recently, I felt like my parents had aged a lot. Things change when you don't see them for a while.
Oh, is that so? By the way, where is your hometown?
It's in Arkansas State. There's a famous church there. You might know it, Mr. Thomas.
What? We're from the same place. What a coincidence.
Really? Is that so?
Yes. I love the cookies from the long-established cookie shop near that church. They're delicious. Haven't you had them?
The CEO smiled as he realized we were from the same hometown. Yes, I know them well. That shop is my family's business. So, I've eaten those cookies more times than I can count.
Well, you should have said so.
I never imagined that President Thomas would know our store.
We have another employee from our hometown. Should I call him?
I wanted to say, I know you mean Jack, right? But I muttered to myself that I didn't want to see him. Without waiting for my reply, the CEO called Jack on the intercom. Soon, there was a knock-knock sound at the door.
Excuse me, this is Jack.
Come in.
Yes, sir.
Jack entered the room. He looked surprised when he saw my face, but he sat down next to me. I could see that he was pale, possibly recalling our previous encounter. especially in front of the CEO.
This is Logan from XYZ Corporation, with whom we have a close relationship. Turns out he's from the same hometown as you. And incidentally, so am I.
The CEO said. Jack replied nervously.
Yes, I know. We were classmates, and I was surprised when I found out he was handling our account.
The CEO turned to me in astonishment.
Is that so, Logan?
Yes, we were in the same class in elementary and middle school back in our hometown. I was also surprised when we met here. Jack was looking at me with pleading eyes as if he wanted to communicate something.
Well, isn't the world a small place? So, Jack, you know about Logan's family shop then?
Yes, the cookie shop near that church. I know it well.
Those cookies from that shop are good, especially the aroma of the butter. Not too sweet. Now I really feel like having some.
The CEO seemed to gaze into the distance, lost in thought. I decided it was time to let the CEO know about my recent encounter with Jack. Our manager told me that you, Mr. Thomas, are fond of cookies, so I thought it would be nice to bring some from my family shop as a get-well gift. I went back home last Sunday to pick up some freshly made cookies to bring on Monday, but Jack's face seemed to scream, "Don't tell him." But I ignored him and continued. Before I could meet with the CEO, I was stopped by Jack here, who told me that the cookies were of low quality and it would be disrespectful to offer them to you, so I couldn't bring them. It's a shame.
What's this? Is this true, Jack?
Yes. His family's place is old and doesn't look good, so I thought that offering something made there to the CEO would be rude.
And what happened to those cookies?
The CEO's face changed color.
Yes, I thought it was inappropriate, so I disposed of them.
You are a fool.
The sudden shout from the CEO made Jack jump.
What do you think cookies are? You thought they were inappropriate. Do you think my favorite cookies are inappropriate? Have I been eating something like that all along? His family's place is old. This shop is a venerable establishment that's been around for over 100 years. That's called history. Do you understand what it means to continue one business for 100 years? It continues because it has been loved by many people for over a century. As someone involved in manufacturing, don't you understand the challenge and effort it takes to keep doing the same job for over 100 years?
Yes, I'm sorry.
I've known that store since my grandfather's time. I've tried various cookies from there over the years. They were all beautiful. Do you think other confections out there can express such a wide range of flavors? I fell in love with cookies because of that shop. It's the taste of my hometown. I even dreamt of eating them while I was in the hospital. And yet, you ruined Logan's feelings because of your actions. Jack, apologize to Logan.
Jack turned towards Logan with a sudden command.
I'm truly sorry for ruining your thoughtful gesture this time.
Jack stood up and bowed to Logan. The CEO also bowed to Logan.
Logan, I'm sorry that Jack wasted the cookies your father went through the trouble to make, as well as your feelings. If there's anything you'd like me to do to make amends, please don't hesitate to say.
Though surprised by the sudden change in the CEO's attitude, Logan was pleased that he cared so much about the cookies. Please, both of you, don't worry about it. I'm a baker's son myself, so I do get angry and sad when someone belittles our cookies. But I'm very moved by the CEO's love for cookies. Thank you so much for enjoying our cookies this much. Jack turned to Logan with a surprised face and bowed again.
I'm truly sorry.
Thank you, Logan. Hearing you say that eases my mind a bit.
CEO Thomas reached out for a handshake, and I firmly shook his hand. On the way home, I felt like having a drink and opened the door to a bar by myself. Usually, I'd go for a beer, but for some reason, I wanted whiskey. I found a liquor from my hometown and ordered it. I took a sip of the alcohol, letting it roll on my tongue. As I enjoyed the tasty beverage, I thought about various things. I had eaten a few cookies when I went back home recently, and I wondered if they had always been this delicious. I thought they were tasty when I was a kid, but they had a different kind of flavor now. I realized that my perception had changed as I had grown older. When I was a kid, I loved my grandfather and always followed him around. When we baked cookies together, he would take one out of the oven while watching it and ask for my opinion, saying,
"Give it a taste."
When I answered, "It would taste better if it baked a little longer," he would say,
"That's right. You've got a good understanding." Logan, You've got talent too.
And he would pat my head with a big smile. I love the beautiful shapes of the cookies my grandfather made. He used his fingers skillfully, quickly shaping them with flair. He could make various shapes, even though they were just cookies. To a child's eyes, it seemed like magic. Until I went to college, I had to help out in the store, mixing ingredients to make dough, decorating, and so on. I felt a real sense of joy when the cookies I helped with sold. Many people loved the cookies my father and grandfather made, treasuring their taste as a flavor of home, a memory of something special, a taste of memories. The CEO's words crossed my mind.
Do you know how much effort and struggle it takes to keep going for more than 100 years?
The CEO's words were stuck in my head. From before my grandfather and father took over, generations had kept that store going. Being an only child, if I didn't take over, would the store close? Ending the history of a shop that has continued for more than 100 years, that would be something. It would be sad for all those who have bought cookies from us over the years. Perhaps the CEO's words were not aimed at Jack but at me, I thought. Until now, I hadn't even considered taking over the shop. But suddenly, I wanted to make cookies. Maybe I'll go back home. I finished the remaining whiskey and left the bar. Looking up at the night sky, I was reminded of the sky back home. I'll buy my father some fine wine on the way, maybe some favorite fruit for my mother. But if I say that, my father might get mad. With those thoughts, I hurriedly headed home. I submitted my resignation to the company. My manager was surprised, but when I explained that I was taking over my family's cookie shop, he said,
Go for it.
I also informed the CEO of a client company about my resignation. When I expressed my gratitude, he was pleased that the shop would continue and even planned a small farewell party for me. Gathering everyone from the company, it turned into a big party before I knew it. I went back home and first greeted my father. I may have been a fool to leave the family once, but I want to return to this path. If you'll forgive me, please train me as your apprentice. My father crossed his arms and was silent for a while.
Training now, can you do it?
Yes, I am prepared. Please be strict with me.
All right, from now on, I'll consider you just an employee. Don't think of me as a parent. Understand?
Yes, I understand. The training began, and my father's strict guidance continued. I had helped out in the shop before, so I managed to handle the basic tasks without any issues. But what came next was challenging. I practiced tirelessly, sparing no time even for sleep. On the rare occasions I had time off, I bought sweets from famous shops and spent time studying their appearance, techniques, and flavors. Gradually, my efforts bore fruit, and the cookies I made began to appear in the shop. The CEO also came to the shop whenever he could, tasting my sweets and offering his opinions. Recently, he even chose our cookies as the favors for his son's wedding, and we received a large order. Jack asked his father to give our shop special treatment, and we began to receive large orders from his side as well. My father recognized my skill and allowed me to take charge of the entire shop. The tradition and techniques that my grandfather and father have built up in this shop are something I want to carry forward with pride into the future.